I'm sorry, Andrew Weissman, but if I recall correctly, in 2018, you were one of the people who helped write the Mueller report, and you all botched the hell out of that.
And never in my wildest dreams would I have thought we would be here. I thought we were better as a country.
Oh, yeah.
Like all these sites that have been around for creating videos and all that, like text stock videos, they're done.
But that's why Canva was one of the first to get into doing AI.
What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations. You know what? I'm going to turn this off. That's better. Thank you. I'm dark. I'm not that light. Sorry, no offense to non-melanated people out there. Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that team since 2020. Reached out directly and indirectly to over 300,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And we're broadcasting live on June 15th. Tomorrow is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to dads, fathers, and male caregivers, whether they're with us or not. Every day should be a Father's Day. Every day should be like a Mother's Day. Just want to include that. Also, want to say I am a featured content creator and also a member of the advisory board of IndieSoup.TV, which is run and powered by our good friend Dr. Tatch out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That is a platform that has about almost 30 now content creators, independent content creators, and in a little under 4 months, they have over 13,000 YouTube subscribers, which is very, very impressive. So you can check out a lot of the conversations that I host, edited versions, on that platform. The long list of things President Biden has done for Black people that most Black people don't know about. So Aisha and Lala, because a few weeks ago we did a comparison. Right. There was an article we compared articles of what each one has allegedly done. But now Aisha wants to come back and talk about President Biden. So go for it.
Well, I listen to the Clay Kane show on Sirius XM every Monday through Friday, 12 to 3. And on Tuesday, as I was driving, they were talking about this list of over 100 things that Joe Biden has done that directly impact Black people. I mean, Black people are in that specific, it mentions Black people in that specific thing that he did. So, people come here all the time and comment and say, well, what has Joe Biden done for Black people? What has Joe Biden done for Black people? But the result that they want is either not to vote or to say they're going to vote for Trump, but never ask the question of what has Trump done for Black people. So, you know what? We did some research. I did some research and looked into it. And on whitehouse.gov, they have a fact sheet about the advances in equity and opportunity for Black Americans across the country. These are the things that they have done. They have helped Black families grow economic opportunity through the American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure, the CHIPS and Sciences Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act. And one of the things that comes through that is that they powered a historic economic recovery that created 2.6 million jobs for Black workers, okay? And achieved the lowest Black unemployment rate on record and the lowest gap between Black and white unemployment on record ever. They helped Black working families build wealth. Black wealth is up by 60% relative to the pre-pandemic, the largest increase on record. They cut in half the number of Black children living in poverty in 2021 through the child tax credit that the Republicans repealed. Okay? Yeah. The Republicans repealed at Donald Trump's insistence. So they also have invested $4 billion to reconnect communities that were previously cut off from economic opportunities by building transportation infrastructure, and these include Black communities, okay? They connected an estimated 5.5 million Black households to affordable high-speed internet connectivity through the Affordable Connectivity Program, closing this, what they say is closing the digital divide for millions of Black families.
Which
They
is
help,
much needed.
right. They help Black businesses grow by achieving the fastest creation rate of Black-owned businesses in more than 30 years and more than doubled the share of Black business owners from 2019 to 2022. They improved the Small Business Administration's loan program to expand the capital to Black and brown communities. Okay. And so since 2020, the number of dollar value from the SBA loans to Black-owned business specifically has more than doubled, okay? They launched a whole government effort to expand federal contracts to small businesses. Specifically, this targets Black and brown-owned businesses. So there's 69.9 billion that go to disadvantaged communities, disadvantaged businesses, largely Black and brown. And the list goes on and on and on. 10 billion here. They tried to get 22 billion to Black farmers. And the Black farmers are suing the Biden administration, which is upsetting to me because it tells me that people do not know how these things work. The House of Representatives holds the purse strings. They are sitting on that money. They will not bring it to the floor to even vote for it. So the Black farmers aren't getting money because of Republicans in the House. And then these are just some of the things that he did. The list, you can see the list of executive orders that each president has done throughout their history, going back several presidencies. And I looked at those, every executive order. They're very long, and there are over 100. And so many of them are for Black people, but we also are concerned, like, we're like, oh, why don't we do anything to help Africa? And guess what? Those are in the executive orders. There's a lot of them that go specifically to Africa in helping that. They have an executive order to offer funds to protect East Palestinians. The people talking about, oh, we're not going to fight because of the war and God. No, guess what? I didn't even know that yesterday.
Wow.
And then I read it. And so these are the things. So you can look at that website. Those are his executive orders just for 2022. And if you I looked at what Donald Trump's executive orders were and which ones targeted Black people. And there was only one that he just kept re-signing each year. And that was to support, listen to this, what was it, like champion excellence among HBCUs. I'm sorry, I went to an HBCU. Black excellence is kind of their thing. That's their brand. Okay. Yeah. Since they started, they didn't need Donald Trump to help to, say he's gonna, rally behind Black excellence at HBC. No, he had no money behind it, no funding or anything, which means guess what that man did? Absolutely freaking nothing. But when you look at the rest of the executive orders, the things that Obama did for Black people, I was surprised because people always say, what did Obama do? His list it's not as long as Biden's, but he's got a lot of things in executive orders that he did that Black people do not know about. And when you go and you look at Trump's first year of executive orders, the main thing he did was repeal every last executive order Barack Obama did to help Black people.
Yes, he did. But then look at his history. I think part of the thing that we have to also consider, everyone keeps asking, what has Biden done? Of course, I feel like the Biden administration is not doing as much as they should for getting the word out. However, you have to look at Trump's history with the things that he did in New York, with the now coming out where it's very clear that the N-word was very much used on The Apprentice. this is telling you who he is and what he is planning to do with Black people and brown people. Not to mention that he, to me, is directly tied to the 2025 project. If he gets into the office, that will be instituted out into everything. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, if you still don't know what the 2025 is, you need to go back and listen to the show where Aisha and I went through everything about that, because this is dangerous. So your question now should be, do you want that 2025 in your life? Because it doesn't matter if you're Black, brown, green, or blue. You're not going to have your rights if you don't fit into their agenda.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that when you go back and read the executive orders, as I said, I was reading his first year of executive orders. And in there, I don't know if you have that screenshot that I sent you, Dr. Vibe, but in there specifically, he had one to rearrange the executive branch of government in order to give himself more power. He tried to do it in 2017. If he goes through and wins, not only will he sign that as an executive order, the House, the Senate will pass it into law, which also means restructuring, also means term limits.
Yes.
Is the Democratic Party doing a good job putting its message out?
No, and that is the problem.
No.
That is the problem. The surrogates aren't out there yet, which in my mind, they should be out there. Like a Gretchen Whitmire needs to be out there. They need to have her out there talking about these things, because she's well respected in Michigan. She's well respected among Black folks there. She's well respected among people who are independents there. So yeah, the surrogates need to be pushing these messages, but also whoever is advising Biden, they need to stop having him not give interviews. They need to, they're being worried that he's going to look like a senile old man. Guess what? He's old. Period.
Yeah, they both
he's
are.
old, but he's sharp. And so you've got to, he might stumble and fumble some words, but guess what? That comes with age. Like I told our pre-show, I sat with 6 generations of my family this year, like last week. My grandparents, yeah, they're in 89. Sometimes they forget things, but guess what? When they tell it like it is. Their generation does. So they need to let him do this. They need to let him talk about these things. It's not egomaniacal like what Donald Trump does, but it's information that people need, because otherwise I feel that the rate that they're going now with the messaging, and that the black hole of misinformation and disinformation is getting bigger, that I feel that Joe Biden's not going to win.
No, and that's very frightening.
Right.
But here's another point. Like this week, Trump was out on the campaign trail, which why the frick is he out there in the first place as a convicted felon? Oh, well. He's out there and his teleprompter got screwed up. And he went off on this tangent that was so out there on Mars that it was frightening. But yet everybody wants to call our current president Sleepy Joe, or he's getting old, or whatever. When Trump was out there just saying anything he needed to say just to get through, that didn't make sense. He literally told the people what is in his heart, which was, I don't care about you.
I just want your vote. Yeah, the funny thing about that too, Lala, was that that revealed that he is also old.
Thank you.
I don't understand why the conversation is about Joe Biden's age. Let's talk about Donald Trump's age, right?
The same.
At his age, he is, put it this way, he is so demented. He had to get that thing that he talks about. Oh, I aced it. That was a cognitive exam for dementia.
Yes,
okay? It wasn't an IQ test like he wants people to think. It was to see if you have any signs of dementia. Talking about getting either executed by a shark or eaten by the shark is how he'd rather die. He'd rather die being executed. What was that? It was a bunch of word salad that made no sense. But here's the other thing. When he does these rallies, all he talks about is the revenge. All he talks about is how things are weaponed against him. Guess what he does not talk about? what he's
Running this
going
country.
to do for you
the
and your
American
families. He never talks about that. Okay? Ever. He has no plan. The Republican platform for this presidency, the political platform, is to get back at Trump's adversaries and to not do anything in the House or the Senate and let the Supreme Court decide all these pertinent issues of our time.
Which is in his pocket. And also, let's not forget, all the people, as soon as Trump just got out of office, was voted out, have now switched allies again. You know, they talked about him like a dog. Mitch McConnell was like all against him. And once again, they're back in his bed. But later on, we're going to talk about how he's spanking some of those people.
Yeah.
And now you're going to see that, oh, we upset Big Daddy. This is not good, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all think that this is better?
Mm-hmm.
So your question shouldn't be what is Biden doing for Black people? It should be, how much more damage is Trump going to do to our communities?
We are trillions of dollars in debt, and that is because of the Trump tax cuts. That tax cut expires January 1st, 2025. And guess what? That, you know what Donald Trump does? He goes to the businesses, because remember, that tax cut was for the wealthy. If you look at your taxes during that time, during the Trump administration and now,
yeah,
you notice that you paid more in taxes, income taxes, than you did prior to Trump being elected. 30% more. And the burden was placed on the middle class and the disadvantaged poorer folks. They got their tax breaks. They took your money that you pay in taxes and gave it to rich people. And what did
you're the ones who's getting the audit reports right now.
And what did Donald Trump say? He asked a multi-billionaire that, hey, if you infuse money into my campaign, I will give you the tax breaks that you want, even better than last time, which means if Donald Trump gets into office, we're paying 30% more now. We're going to be paying up to 60%.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paige. I am a marketing consultant and the host of More Than a Mom, the podcast. I am here at the Soundwave Summit, and I had the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Vibe, and the gems he dropped were unmatched. An accidental conversation really changed my whole plan. And if I had him 3 years ago when I started my consulting career, it would have made a major change. The biggest thing that I learned that I'm taking with me is understanding that I do not have a show, I have a solution. And I think that's something that's not talked about enough. Another thing that really adjusted my mindset was the power of positive language. I was telling him about some of my problems are asking for help. I'm always pouring into other people, but it's hard, and it's a problem that I can't get that same thing in return. And he said, it's not a problem. It's something that, what did you say? Not a problem. You said, oh, it's a challenge. It's something that's a challenge for me. And that simple adjustment of language, I went away to lunch and I called 4 people and I'm like, hey friends, we need to change our energy. We need to change our outlook. We are solution-driven people. We do not need to do things the way society tells us to do things. This checklist that we feel like we need to fall under, this 10-minute conversation we had, it changed up everything. So I'm so thankful for the gems. I feel like I'm going to go back and make a whole new to-do list that's based on how I need to do things, a different way of looking at things, and I'm just so thankful. So thank you, Dr. Vibe.
45 returns to the scene of January 6th crime and humiliates Marjorie Taylor Greene, telling her to be nice to Speaker Johnson after, her push to oust him.
It wasn't,
camel got popped, huh?
it wasn't just her that he humiliated. He humiliated Ted Cruz, Lindsey. The list goes
He
on.
called them all out. Basically, he put them all on notice that if he gets back in office, they will be spanked. Matter of fact, I would be very surprised if he would allow them in his circle. They are pawns to him. They're only as useful to him as much as they can get him everything that he wants, but he will throw them away immediately.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In the fealty that was shown in that room, they gave him a birthday cake. Instead of putting his age there on candles, they put 45 because he was a 45th president. And then they stood there clapping for him even after he left the room. Okay? That is how insane this has gotten. Again, silly season in politics.
But he's telling you exactly. He's always told you what he is and who he is and what he stands for. Mm-hmm. He's telling her to stand down because he has this. He's got plans for this speaker. Okay. So he's telling her to stand down. I think he also notices that she is really getting a lot of negative press, and a lot of people are really getting a really nasty taste in their mouth for her on both sides. And the fact that everything that she does, every committee she goes to, every hearing she goes to, all she does is attack people. And I think he's telling his bulldog to stand down.
But I don't think it's even that. Remember, we're dealing with Donald Trump here. He doesn't like when her nonsense takes the media gaze off of him. That's what it is.
Yeah, he doesn't want to dull his shine.
He doesn't like to be outshined, and he especially that bleach blonde, bad built, butch body thing has, like, when that went viral,
off.
It took away attention from him, and so it's like and he knows who caused that. And that was the sign.
So he is 45 being his usual strategic self.
Strategic? Yeah. I don't think he has any strategy. It's all about him.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. His strategy is about him. Like I didn't.
That's the way he wants to see it.
But I didn't think I'd see the day where he'd tell Marjorie Taylor Greene, stand down.
Yeah, but you know what? But you know why this is? Because it's not just about her standing down. Remember, he wants to have him pushed out and input somebody who's more MAGA, just because he did one bipartisan deal with the Democrats to keep the government open. Okay, that's what this is about. That's why she's going after him. But what Donald Trump wants is not to have the chaos of last year when they couldn't get Kevin in for 15 rounds. And then after they ousted him, doing everything, because that would look like the House is in complete and total MAGA dysfunction. And that would come back to him in his race. He knows he would lose, and not only lose him, but they also have the potential to lose the House again, and he needs those Republicans in the House if he wins.
So what you're basically saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's basically saying, behave yourselves for me.
Yes. Yeah, that's about it.
Right? We are dysfunctional, but behave yourselves until November.
Yes.
Right.
Let's keep it together as a dysfunctional.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty now. We are down to the final countdown.
4 months.
Well, I think even sooner than that, because the first debate is at the end of this month, is it not?
It sure is. It's the 27th.
Right. So that's another thing people may not realize inside and outside the United States. Election season isn't, by the time it gets down with this election to October-ish, it's already decided.
Yeah.
This debate coming up in the next few weeks is critical for, I think, more Mr. Biden than 45.
Right. And you said a word there about the elections already being decided by October. And it's not just the presidential elections that will be decided by October. Because remember, that is why all these states, particularly the southern states, are frantically trying to stop the redistricting, the redistricting that had to be done to make them more equitable, because they can't handpick the candidate that they want. This is because remember, it's about strategy of how to get people in office that they want to do their stuff. So they handpick the person who's going to win by gerrymandering. And so remember, this election is critically important because if Donald Trump, all these appeals they're gonna lose all these appeals. But if Donald Trump should get back in, the first thing those states are going to do is redistrict back into these districts that dilute the Black and brown vote. They dilute the vote of women. They dilute the vote of every underserved, underprivileged minority group out there. Period.
So
you don't fit their agenda. Even if you're in their party, even if you're in their party, you don't fit their agenda. You don't look like them. You don't move like them. You're not in their economic bracket. So you're fooling yourself if you think you're a part of a family when as soon as they get what they want from you and you've done your tap dancing, you're going to be outside the door talking about, but I did what you told me to do. They don't care about you. Yeah. Period.
And you know what? There's this conversation going around with the Black Republicans and the Black MAGA folks constantly. They're evoking Jim Crow, and I had to sit there and think about that for a while. They're evoking Jim Crow and saying it was better, that Black people were better off. The thing that the words might not exactly be there in the Project 2025 plan, but they're sending out their token spokespeople, their token surrogates to say this, hoping that it eases the blow, because I think they're going to return us to Jim Crow in 2025. And so they want us to feel comfortable with it. And that's why you have people like Byron Donalds going out there talking about Jim Crow, Tim Scott talking about Jim Crow, period. That is the morphine that they're trying to feed in your mental vein, so that you're dull and numbed to the impact of what these policies are going to do.
Another strategy is they're actually wearing us all down. There's so many things that we have to watch and to be on guard with, and so many things that they are stripping us of that we're so up in arms about, that we are not seeing the whole picture, because some people grab onto the whole situation of this thing. Maybe they took away your reproductive rights. Okay, that's one little ball of people who are fighting just for that. The other one is they're taking away DEI. Okay, maybe that group of people are handling that. But what you have now is a fragmentation of what is going on and what is being taken away from us, that you don't have a collective understanding that this is all tied into a bigger plan. You only have people who are standing up for certain things, which is nothing wrong with that. You can stand up for that too. But when you have so many of them going on, you don't know where the ball is.
But isn't that politically smart?
For them, yes, because what I'm seeing is a lot of those who look like us don't know what to grab onto. This is why the question is from them is, what has Biden done for our community? Well, first of all, they don't get into what they need to get into by researching the things that Aisha presented to us today. Those things are absolutely easy to get to. You just have to want to get to it. Listen, if you want to know who's on the next season of Housewives and who's divorcing who and whose child is lesbian and who's not, then you can get just as involved into our government instead of those things that are taking your time away from the people who are actually taking your right away. Right. So it's your choice.
Yeah. And I urge people to go and look at those sources that I gave of all the things that Biden has done for Black people. And then the other thing I'm telling you that you absolutely have to do, every Black person, every Black and brown person in this country needs, every woman, every LGBTQ person, every person of color needs to read Project 2025. It is out there. It is free. You need to read it. It's long, but you need to read it to see what they plan on doing. And beyond that, we also should be upset that these people brought the person who incited the riot that damaged the Capitol building back into the Capitol building while he is indicted for inciting said riot in the building.
Which, if you've noticed, they've all lessened it. This now is no longer anarchy. This no longer is insurrection. This is good old American people doing what they should be doing out in the streets, protesting something that they don't like. But had it been black and brown, you better know that there would have been a lot of murders that day.
Yes.
Next story up. This man never seems to go away. Alex Jones ordered to liquidate assets to pay for Sandy Hook damages as Sandy Hook shooting survivors graduate without 20 of their classmates.
Can I start this?
So he's now going across the platforms crying, woo-hoo, I'm so poor. This is what I do. They're punishing me. Look at what he did to these families.
Yeah, I'm here in Connecticut where this happened. Okay. I remember that day very, very vividly. They didn't just shut down schools in Newtown. They shut down every school in the state because they did not know if this man was going. I couldn't get to my child. And I'm watching on TV and the numbers elevating, and to see it was 20 kids, 20 first graders, was very sad. These parents, let me tell you what happened. I'm going to tell you a story about how these parents found out. They had the fire station open after the shooting and told parents to go there to meet their children. And then parents were left. You started to see people leave. And then there were 20 sets of parents still there waiting. One set of parents had one of their children who did survive, but no other children were coming. The governor had to go in and tell those parents that their children were dead. And he gave an interview on our local news. And the thing that he said was he had never heard anything like it. The screaming, the crying, people were outside and could hear these people in agony over this. And Alex Jones single-handedly turned this into something that he used to elevate his platform by telling people it was right, and his pockets, by telling people it was a hoax. And it really pisses me off because I live here. I was here. I remember there was no hoax. It is not a hoax. Okay.
And imagine how all these parents feel.
Yeah.
They've lost their children. And now you have some idiot out here talking about this is some hoax. Well, okay, where are their children if
Right.
it was a hoax?
Right.
Where are their children?
Yeah. And let's go further too, because Alex Jones had the same impact on his audience that Donald Trump has on his fan base. They were swatting these families. They were harassing these families. The families had death threats.
Yeah.
Death threats because they lost their kids. These families have had to move, change identities.
While grieving, still grieving.
Yes, while still breathing. It put it this way, it is so that the graduation for that class of kids that would have were lost their classmates. Some survived, some didn't. Though that class just graduated the same day that Alex Jones was ordered to liquidate assets to pay for the damages. He's going to lose his platform, but even more, they had the graduation at an undisclosed location because of all the crap that he did. And the other thing too about that about, the fearless splendid things. And going back to our earlier conversations too, the one thing we have to be on point about is that all this talk about the, Joe Biden's going to lose the black vote, not whatever. We have to remember that dialogue they're setting up the dialogue so that if Joe Biden wins, everybody can blame black people. If and then saying, oh, black people are not going to come out to vote. Well, if Donald Trump wins, they're going to blame black people. So it is. Remember, this is how they are setting up to blame us for everything.
But that's what they've always done historically.
But what they're not. But notice, the reason I say that is because, remember, there's one population that they're not going to blame. Joe Biden, if Joe Biden loses, it's because 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump. Period. They blamed black people for Hillary Clinton losing. No, it's because 51% of white women voted for Donald Trump and not Hillary Clinton. That's how we got the overturning of Roe. Period.
Hunter Biden found guilty on all counts in gun case. GOP says DOJ should have charged him more harshly, while saying DOJ overcharged 45 in January 6 document cases.
Hunter Biden is a private citizen. Da-da-da.
Silly season. Okay, these people complained because they didn't give him the maximum. They didn't give him the man could face up to 25 years in prison. What are you talking about more harshly? And aren't you all Second Amendment people? Why you're about a gun?
Only Aisha, only when it fits their benefit.
Exactly. And now, but at the same time, you're talking about both sides of your mouth. Okay. Now on the other side of your mouth, you're saying, oh, DOJ overcharged Trump. Hold up. Wait a minute. It was Trump's people that charged Hunter Biden in the first place. In the Biden administration, a Trump appointed special counsel, right? And so that is that. And then this thing about overcharging Trump. I'm sorry. I read the indictments. He did it. He got charged for what he did, period. And guess what? You're talking about overcharging him in the January 6th documents case. Well, guess what? He's got a judge that keeps kicking the ball down the road. So the case is even active. What are you talking about? Why are you complaining? Yeah. Why are you crying?
We saw that.
She just did something else this week that helped him.
Yeah, totally. Her motives are very clear. But I think she did step on herself this time. I think people are going to be starting to call for her to step down.
They're going to kick this to the 11th Circuit Court, which was the conservative court that told her she was wrong the last time.
Yeah.
She don't want to be spanked twice.
Right.
Based on Hunter Biden, do you think he'll spend any prison time?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get some time. But okay, here's the thing. Look at the difference. First of all, he was struggling with drugs, which we know we have an epidemic in this country of that. But they're only using this to serve their purpose of trying to punish the Biden administration. Right. Whereas Biden actually did come out and say, I'm not pardoning him. And he's always stood firm with his children. Okay, let's be very firm about that. He's being the good father in this case. But the fact that they went after him in the first place was nothing but a vindictive thing that they were doing. They wanted to make sure that they punished him for what he did for Trump. Well, Biden did nothing to Trump except win.
Yeah, and here's the other part of it too. Remember, not only did they go after him with these counts, they tried to humiliate him in the process, showing Marjorie Taylor Greene showing naked pictures of him in a committee meeting was insane. But here's my other point. Okay. Donald Trump is on the ballot. Hunter Biden is not. He is not running for anything. He does not hold any office at all. Why are we comparing a private citizen to a political candidate? Period. That is that
Yeah,
is it. That is it. Because
they've set their precedents. They're going to come for you.
And let's be clear. Let's be very, very clear. He's being charged with lying on an application for a gun permit because he was high. I don't know any person who's been on drugs, and I do have family members who have struggled with addiction, that when you see them, you know they're high, but if you ask them if they're high, they will tell you no. I don't know any drug addict that ever admits to being high.
Or even knowing how high they are, to be honest.
Right. And so, of course, he said no. But here's the other part too, is that if the Republicans passed background checks,
which they won't.
They could have done a background, when he did the application, they could have done a background check on Hunter Biden and found out that he has a very well documented history of addiction.
Exactly. Which goes to show you that they're really not interested. They're not interested in that. They don't want to do that. But yet they want to punish someone to be vindictive instead of running our country.
White fans on X/Twitter claiming WNBA Caitlin Clark has it worse than Jackie Robinson did when he broke the color line in pro baseball.
Okay, so I had to go off on somebody today.
I saw that.
Twice. Okay, I repeated myself twice. And you could show those screenshots. It's fine, Dr. Vibe, if you want to. I had to go off because this one guy said that Caitlin Clark had it worse than Jackie Robinson. No, Caitlin Clark is our era's Jackie Robinson. No, that she isn't. Let me tell you something about her skills. I'm going to say these things about her skills, and I'm going to tell you why the Jackie Robinson thing could get me off. First of all, she has the most turnovers in the history of the WNBA. I'm not saying she's not a good ball player. She was an excellent ball player in college. This is the pros. She's not leveling up, okay? Period. She gets knocked down or bumped or whatever, and these people lose their freaking minds. And here's the thing. She should have known what she was getting into. Those women in the W are worse than the men in the NBA. They cut elbows. Look, they will cut again into see. Okay, they will cut elbows, flat pushing. They even fight. So let's be very clear. This is a serious league. Okay, these women. Caitlin Clark will only have to play for the WNBA season. The WNBA season lasts from May until about September. And part of the reason it's going to last that long this year is because they've got to pause it for the Olympics, because a lot of players are going to the Olympics. And so it will last until September. It is a very short season. They have a very short season. There are only 12 teams in the league, 144 players. So first of all, with that being said, it is harder for people to get drafted because they only have a limited number of spots, period. But this is the pros. You should expect her to be handled like a pro, but these women do something she's not going to be doing. Okay, she does not have to play ball all year round to get paid, because remember, these women only get paid about $75,000 period for the year. So they play in other countries and in other leagues throughout the rest of the year to make up for the income. She's not going to have to, because she got a $38 million deal with Reebok to come up with a sneaker. Okay, so she entered that way. First of all, this complaint about her not being able to be picked for the Olympic team, let me tell you something. And then them saying that she should replace Brittany Griner. First of all, Brittany Griner has gotten America two gold medals in the Olympics. Okay, it's not like the Olympics are going anywhere and we're not having another one after this. Give her 4 years. I'm sorry, but with the amount of turnovers that she's made, having the most in record history of the 27-year history of the WNBA. No, she shouldn't go. No. But now these people out here talking about because she is being treated like everyone else in the league, and she's not being treated special, that she has it worse than what Jackie Robinson did. Jackie Robinson had death threats. He got spit on. They called him all kinds of racial slurs. And like I said, they would go to hotels. The team bus, if they toured the team bus, he was the only person who had to sit in the back of the bus. And then when they got to certain hotels or certain restaurants, they would go to these ones that only served whites. And so he couldn't go in. He'd sit on the bus and have to wait for somebody to bring him food after those people ate. Okay. And so he had to wait for his teammates to finish eating before he could eat. And then when they would go to hotels, he wasn't allowed in the same hotels that they were. So he would either have to find a local Black hotel, which, a lot of them would have remained.
Or the network of people who allow people in their home
to stay with them. Yes, he had to go do that or sleep on the bus. I'm sorry, Caitlin Clark has it worse than Jackie Robinson. Caitlin Clark got chartered flights from the W that, guess what? The other players never got them. They were flying coach to get from game to game to game and paying the tickets themselves. The charter plane that Caitlin Clark got was paid for her. And now you want to talk about people not being treated fairly. The only reason the W switched to chartered flights now was because the Black women on the team said, wait a second, you can't do this to us. So now they get chartered flights. But that is the problem. You know what? These are the pros. Girl, level up your game. And not only that, but I need to put this on the spot. Her brother and her boyfriend are both getting into that racist MAGA stuff. And they're exchanging back and forth barbs with people on social media that are very racist. So she's going to have to walk an even finer line because these Black women aren't going to have that. Knowing and if she starts talking like these people who are talking for her,
she hasn't yet, right?
No,
she's from what I see,
mm-hmm.
She's been handling okay. The thing so there's a number of dynamics here because first of all, it's in some ways you can compare it a little bit, though she hasn't accomplished as much yet, if she will, when Larry Bird came to the NBA. Right? Yeah. Larry Bird, at the time, a lot of people call him the Great White Hope. But the thing is, he backed it. He didn't say, like, there were a lot of detractors, and again, realize that we're talking about media that is controlled by people who want to get the clicks.
Well, also too, they're corporate media. So remember, we found out this week that the Sinclair Broadcasting owns 200 local stations throughout the country and gave them all the same script, the right-wing script, as part of their newscast. It wasn't true. None of the information was true. So guess what? Those organizations are gonna keep this going.
Yeah. So I think, there was a lot of hype about Caitlin Clark. Did a lot of great things. Remember, she hasn't won anything, whether it's in college or the post. So
grab on to somebody and make them the poster child.
But that's the thing. Remember, we all know the world of media. Mm-hmm. So she's a great story. I have to respect because she's not going for the bait. Now people around her are going for the bait, but she's not going for the bait. The thing is how long will the media keep it going? As long as she's not performing spectacular, it can only last for so long until she has to start winning. But as I said, for her, I like how she's handling it. It's all the stuff around her. And then another thing, before she graduated college, Ice Cube offered her a ridiculous amount of money to join his 3-on-3 league. So Ice Cube, why don't you offer something like that to an Angel Reese? But obviously, Caitlin Clark has more media clicks. whether right or wrong.
Or better yet, why don't you offer that to Diana Taurasi, who is Latina, and is the most 3-point scorer in the league?
Because again, Caitlin Clark's got the hype.
But here's the other part too, that bothers me more than anything. You know, those folks are going to do those folks. They're going to race bait. They're going to continue to do that, whatever. But the thing that disturbs me the most is the black men caping for her on social media and on TV and on these sports channels, because I don't see them defending the black women of the W. I really don't, ever. Where if they've got this much support for Caitlin Clark, where was their support for Brittany Griner when she was in Russia? What was it? Sharp, whatever his name is, said the thing about Stephen A. Smith talking about Caitlin Clark not getting into the
he got into it with
Olympics.
a black lady commentary.
And Sha'Carri Robinson. Well, guess what?
I can't remember her name.
Sha'Carri Richards. But I'm like,
no. But no, there's a commentator on ESPN. It's a lady. Him and her got into a back and forth on one of his shows. I can't remember her name, but sorry to not keep on going.
But they're making these comparisons about, so Sha'Carri Richards, well, she got into the Olympics. If she can get into the Olympics after what happened the last time with the drug thing, they should take Caitlin Clark. Have you people lost your minds? She qualified. She made the qualifications. And let's be very clear, too. Caitlin Clark has only played professional, but mostly, if I'm not mistaken, all the women on the WNBA, on the Olympic team are WNBA players. They played in the pros. If not here, they might play overseas. But they play in the pros. Okay. She has only been in the pros 2 months. She has not performed well in the pros. Right. Why would she qualify for the Olympic team? So you want to place these people talking about wanting to replace people that have guaranteed wins in the past with someone who can't stop turning over. And if you don't understand what turning over means, it literally means someone taking the ball from her and going in the opposite direction toward their basket. Okay? That keeps happening to her. And I'll tell you why it happens to her in the W, because those women don't dribble high. She dribbles high, standing up. Those women go really low. And that's how they get under you to get those balls.
The media is going to cover what's hot. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people are in this. And again, it's a hot topic because race is involved. Right? The race is involved. It would be, I think, would we be hearing as much if Caitlin Clark started out her professional career as well as she ended her college career?
No.
So
these people want to play. They want to change the rules. That's the other part that bothers me, is that they want the WNBA to change the rules, basically lowering standards so she can perform better. It is insane.
Well, one thing I was questioning about is that player from my camera one team that just pushed her on it when there was. I didn't think that was necessary, and also the bench cheering about that was a little iffy to me. But
guess what happened the same night?
Right?
Angel Reese got knocked out worse than what happened to Caitlin Clark.
Both are wrong.
And you know what she did? Well, no, those are flagrant fouls, but that's the game. That is the game. People make flagrant fouls all the time. The men do it. Why are we complaining when the women do it?
And I agree with you, but the only little concern about that is the whole bench got up and cheered when that happened.
Yeah, and
that's a little bit questionable.
That's questionable, but you can't account for other people's behaviors, but to blame it on the players. This is the part that bothers me, is they're mad that someone got a flagrant foul on her. Well, guess what? Somebody hit Brittany Griner in the face and got a flagrant foul, and you know what she did? She got up and kept going. You know what? No one cheered for when Angel Reese got that. People cheered about her getting hit too. They cheered about that. People who support Caitlin Clark cheered about that. And guess what she did? She got up and kept it moving. And so I have a lot of smoke for all these people talking about this, because I love the WNBA.
So first things first, from the blue.
From the blue, it is Lala. You can find me very easily. I made it easy, guys. So you can follow me at this link here, bit.ly/Laura Key Info. You'll get all of my social media posts as well as some freebies.
All right, fantastic. And I finally changed it up. There we go.
Yes,
Aisha
you can have
K.
conversations
Stagger.
with me on Instagram or X Twitter. If you want to see my my clapback, my quick clapbacks.
Okay, all right. 100%. All right. So myself, you can catch me at various places, the drvibeshow.com on the website, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show. Instagram at the drvibeshow.com, X/Twitter at drvibeshow, and email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. You can watch replays of this epic conversation at the Dr. Vibe Show, the drvibeshow show.com, and also the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Primetime Saturday with Aisha and Lala, the Patreon address there. It's also in the comment section on most of the platforms you're watching live or on replay. Also, there is the link for the store. Join the Primetime Saturday Discord group. Email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. All right, we close out with this as always. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourselves grace. Again, we're broadcasting this live on June 15th. Tomorrow is Father's Day. We didn't get, and so you know what? I forgot, but we should have had a little shout out to all the fathers around the world. So I will say it on behalf of the two wonderful ladies. Fathers, wherever you are, happy Father's Day to the fathers, dads, and male caregivers. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith, walk good, and we'll catch you next week.